A black woman, already having an ordinary day, was about to drive home when a routine traffic stop turned into a nightmare. As the officer approached her car, something felt off. His words were sharp, his attitude cold. But when he ordered her out of the car, she didn't panic. She stayed calm and said, "I am the DEA." The officer froze. What happened next shocked him and revealed a dangerous truth about racial profiling. Why was she targeted? And could this have been avoided? Watch until the end to find out. Wait a second. Tell us where you're watching from in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories like this. Jessica had always believed in the promise of fairness. A hard-working woman with a steady job in the city, she was used to being on the move. After finishing her shift at the medical center, she prepared for the short drive home. The sun had just dipped below the horizon, and the streets were quieter than usual. As she rolled her windows down to enjoy the evening breeze, she didn't notice the police car pulling up behind her. The flashing lights caught her attention. She knew it was routine until the officer stepped out of his vehicle, eyes fixed on her rearview mirror. His look felt too sharp, too direct. She wasn't sure why he'd pulled her over, but as his steps approached, she couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. What was coming wasn't just a ticket. It was something bigger. Jessica's heart rate quickened as the officer approached her car. He didn't greet her as most officers did. Instead, he went straight into questioning. "Do you know why I stopped you?" he asked. She paused, trying to understand. She hadn't done anything wrong. "No, officer. Can you tell me?" The officer looked over his shoulder and gestured to his partner, who was standing off to the side. His gaze never left her. "I need to see your license and registration." She handed them over, but instead of checking, he just stared at the documents for what seemed like an eternity. His face remained impassive. "Step out of the vehicle," he commanded. Jessica's mind raced. What had she done? Why was he acting like this? She had been pulled over before, but this felt different. The air around her grew heavier. "Why?" she asked, trying to keep calm. Without answering, the officer motioned again. "Get out now." She stayed put, thinking for a split second. Then, with a deep breath, she said the words that would freeze him in his tracks. "I am the DEA." The officer paused, taken aback by her calm confidence. The look of suspicion on his face slowly morphed into confusion. He hadn't expected that response. It wasn't just the words that threw him off. It was the certainty in her voice, the quiet authority that exuded from her. He glanced at his partner, who seemed equally unsettled, unsure of how to proceed. The silence between them hung in the air as Jessica's eyes remained locked on the officer, her fingers tapping lightly on the steering wheel. What would happen next? She knew the game they were playing, but would he? The officer's hand stiffened on his gun holster, and his eyes widened with disbelief. "What did you just say?" he asked, voice tight with confusion. She repeated, slower this time. "I am the DEA." She wasn't just some random driver. She was a federal agent, and she knew the laws. His face went from suspicion to shock. His partner looked at him, clearly unsure of how to react. Silence hung in the air, thick with tension. The officer took a step back, staring at her like she had just revealed a hidden truth. Her words echoed in his mind, and the enormity of the situation hit him. She was telling the truth. She possessed the power, authority, and knowledge to navigate this moment. Cars had slowed down as the scene unfolded. People were starting to gather, the whispers of a possible injustice brewing. In that moment, Jessica realized that this wasn't about a simple traffic stop. This was about something far more systemic, something rooted in racial profiling. Would this encounter escalate, or would it finally come to an end with the truth? After a few long moments, the officer finally stepped back, his face drained of color. He muttered an apology, handing her the documents back. Jessica didn't need his apology. She didn't need his recognition. What she needed was to be seen as human, not just another statistic in a system that often unfairly targeted people like her. As Jessica drove away, her hands still trembling, the weight of what had happened began to settle in. This wasn't just about her. This was a story that millions had lived before. How many more times would it take before society stopped seeing race as a reason to suspect, to target, to harm? The question haunted her all the way home. The truth was clear. Nothing would change until people began to listen. So, what's it going to take for real change to happen? How many more stories like this will it take before equality is more than a seat assignment? Tell me, where are you watching from? Take care.